let's think about maybe you're someone who's starting out in sales. And I always say one of the biggest mistakes that you can have when you're first starting out in sales or trying to get good at sales is having the wrong expectations take you out of the game, right? And part of what I think is the number one mistake that a lot of people have in this game is they're giving these expectations that like, hey, dude, you're going to go make 10, 20K per month in your first like 30, 60, 90 days. And the truth is that's not going to fucking happen. That's not going to happen if you're coming from a place where like you don't really have that much skill set, right? Now, if you are someone who has sales experience, maybe you come from corporate, you're a top performer in the tech world, and you actually have a skill set, then I'll be like, okay, cool. That is right expectations. So you need to have the right expectations in alignment with your current skill set when it comes to the time and what's required to be good at sales, when it comes to the money and what you can expect in terms of performance, right? And number three, and expectations of what it actually takes to win in this game. So first, let's talk about time. What is actually the expectation of time? Here's the truth. Let's say you're in year one of sales. You should have the proper expectation. You're probably going to have not a comfy like 20 to 30 hour role. Like, to be honest, if your outcome is to get good, right, which I highly recommend you prioritize gaining a skill set first as opposed to trying to earn a shit ton of money in the beginning. You're in a season of learning, not a season of earning necessarily in the beginning. So what I did, I was like, dude, I was willing to put in the 50, 60 hours in sales when I was like first starting out, right? I had the right expectation, thanks to like good mentors and coaches, that like I was, if I wanted to be the best, if I wanted to be a top performer on my team, I had to put in like twice the work compared to the last person, right? So for me, average work week is 40 hours. So I was willing to put in like 60 hours, maybe sometimes even more than the rest of my team. Because what I lacked in skill set, I made for in volume and time, right? So having the right expectation when you're beginning is like, okay, I might need to be putting in more hours and I might not be even getting that great of a pay, but like what I'm doing is I'm learning a skill set, right? Then as you progress, let's say you get to like year 3, year 4, year 5, maybe you become a closer or you become a top SDR, a top setter. Then your expectation of time is you could probably reduce that, right? So like there was a point back in 2021 where I was a top performer on my team, making great commissions, and I was realistically working like 25, 30 hours a week. And I was able to have a little bit of a change in expectations because I've already gotten the results. I've already built the skill set. I already put in the hours of time. And I was able to get to a point where I was like, okay, cool. My expectations for this is I can actually still get and command this like high 5-figure monthly commission check and work, less hours than some of the other people. But I was able to command that because of the work that I put in. So that's the first thing is time, right? Second thing from there is money. So I always invite people to think about it in the like corporate world. Income is very linear. So it's like, hey, you make 50K this year, then you make 70K the next year, then you make 90K the next year, then you make 110K the next year, right? And that might be like a 4-year period. In the remote high ticket world, the online world, money is actually exponential. So while in the corporate world, it's like a staircase, the high ticket world, it's like this. It's exponential graph. It like balloons up. And so if people don't have the right expectation, which the truth is, if you're not that good or you're just starting out, the first one, maybe even 2 years of high ticket sales might really suck in terms of commission. Unless like you get like, you do a really good job finding the right offer. To be honest, like I didn't really make the best money my first 2 years in high ticket sales. In fact, I could have made more money continuing my corporate tech sales job in those first 2 years. In fact, that was a point of frustration for me. I was like, man, like my peers are making more money than me. Like, why did I leave this to go pursue this high ticket sales remote thing? Like, did I make the wrong decision? Then what ended up happening is year 3 and onwards, I started making even more money. And instead of just being, let's say, a jump from, let's say, 50K to 70K, which, like, again, linear in the corporate world, I was making a jump from like 50K to like 100K in a year. And so it becomes these multiples, like these 2x, 3x's, right? And so I want people to have that right expectation, which is like the money will often snowball and compound in high ticket sales. So if you are someone who's willing to put in that work, that grind work for that first year, it might suck at first, but if you're willing to stick through the process, you're willing to, be okay with some of your other peers in other industries of sales make more money than you, you're going to be the last one laughing come year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5, right? So that's the money expectation. And then the third one, really simple, man, is just having the expectation for what is this game over the long run? Like, what am I even getting myself into, right? And if you can have a long-term horizon and outlook on this whole game, understanding that it's a marathon and not a sprint, you realize that why this space is so beautiful is because there's literally untapped potential for how much money you can make, right? When you're in a corporate setting, there's caps, right? Like they say that there's not a cap, like, oh man, you can make 300K OTE, 400K OTE. And like, okay, cool, you can. But you got to be in a really like top 5, top 10% offer. And you got to be like choosing an actual company that is like going through a massive growth period. So for example, I joined Salesforce right at the tail end of that growth period. And I saw that and I was like, man, I kind of missed the boat. Like if I had joined this company maybe like 3 or 4 years prior, that's where that 300, 400K plus in that year I could have earned. But I kind of joined at like almost the pinnacle of their company. And, my cap was probably going to be anywhere from 150 to 180K. And so I just wasn't satisfied with that. And that's partly one of the core reasons I went into high ticket sales is I saw these guys making 20, 25, even I know some people who made like 40, 50K plus comms per month in this space. So for me, the income potential was uncapped, but also the skill set potential was uncapped. And that's where the truth of why high ticket is so great here, Matt, is because when you come from a place where your skill set acquisition is uncapped because you really can do, so much and you kind of wear multiple hats in this remote sales space, that's where the magic really happens. The reason why I was able to launch the dojo and have, copywriting skill sets and have coaching outside of the skill set of sales is because no team, no corporate company, no manager could tell me I couldn't do these things. In the corporate world, you're kind of punished for trying to, get out of your lane sometimes. In the high ticket world, you're actually rewarded for adding on different skill sets and being naturally curious to learn these different things. So having that right expectation, this game is a little bit different in that it's a long-term career. You focus on skill set over, the money at first, and it'll take you a long way. So